Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Welcome to the Doc Watkins Show. I'm your host, Doc Watkins. I'm joined tonight by Brandon Guerra back there on the drums, and special guest bassist for this week, Mr. Daniel Durham, all the way from Austin, Texas. My very special guest tonight is acclaimed vocalist and saxophonist, Mr. Curtis Stigers. We're going to get to the music in just a moment, but first, let's have a look at the JazzTexas news. General Mills, which makes Lucky Charms, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and numerous other cereal brands, plans to sell pouches of Lucky Charms marshmallows as a limited-time item called Just Magical Marshmallows. The product is geared for people who love the taste of Lucky Charms but crave an extra dose of cancer-causing fake sugar and want diabetes. Starbucks announced that its pumpkin spice latte, the drink that started the pumpkin craze 17 years ago, returns this week. This is all part of Starbucks' giant plan to serve you crappy beverages. The company also announced that for a limited time, you can call the Starbucks hotline to hear a variety of prompts that will transport you to the fall season and get you in the holiday mood, including a crackling fire, a hayride through a pumpkin patch, or even some PSL-inspired meditation. And to keep it current, you'll also hear the sounds of hospital ventilators and the screams of people getting nasal swabs at drive-through COVID testing centers. Also, if you enjoy Starbucks pumpkin spice lattes, then why not have it accompanied by a giant bag of Lucky Charms marshmallows, available at all participating Starbucks and diabetes clinics. Domino's has just launched 2 pizza specialties for delivery, the chicken taco pizza and the cheeseburger pizza. In a press release, Domino's vice president said, "Now friends and family who are craving a taco or a cheeseburger won't be disappointed." Yeah, here's a better idea. If you're craving a taco or a cheeseburger, how about just ordering those and screw the pizza? TV star, food maven, and social media queen Chrissy Teigen, who's pregnant, says her eating habits are causing her some problems, and she's eating so much sour candy that her tongue is falling off. Teigen's OBGYN has also recommended she replace her sour candy craving with a healthy diet of Lucky Charms marshmallows and a Domino's cheeseburger pizza. And finally, in his new documentary, You Cannot Kill David Arquette, the 48-year-old actor and aspiring professional wrestler Arquette is aiming to make a comeback in the ring, and he's ready to prove himself worthy to fans and critics alike. Of course, the last Hollywood actor who tried to become a pro wrestler was Mickey Rourke, and we all know how that turned out. And that's it for the JazzTexas news. Thank you for tuning in to the program, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get to the music in just a moment, but first, I'd like to offer a toast to everyone who tuned in to the show tonight, and especially those who have ordered curbside or delivery from JazzTexas. Our kitchen is now open 5 nights a week, so make sure and get your food and your drinks from JazzTexas and enjoy the program with us. Here's to many more years of jazz music, food, drinks, friends, and family. Cheers, everybody. We'd like to start out with a swinging little blues entitled Bags Groove, written by the great Milt Jackson. That's Bag's Groove by Milt Jackson. Brandon Guerra on the drums, guest bassist Daniel Durham on the bass, everybody. We'd like to give a big shout out to our production crew, Caitlin Hill on the audio, and on the video production, Mr. Chris Zients. With Wizard Broadcasting. Thank you, guys. Also, a big shout out, as always, to our wonderful media sponsor, KRTU 91.7, some of the best jazz on the planet. Make sure and tune in on your way to work, on your way home from work, in the shower, or what have you. KRTU is a blessing to this town and some of our best friends. So thank you, Corey and JJ and Monica, for supporting us during these times. This next number is written by Antonio Carlos Jobim. It's one of my favorite Brazilian tunes, bossa nova, entitled Wave. That's Wave by Antonio Carlos Jobim. My special guest this evening has been described by the New York Times as an inspired marriage of visceral clout and intellectual savvy. His string of hit singles, millions of albums sold, and a 28-year recording career have shown his commitment to artistic growth and adding new tunes to the Great American Songbook. His repertoire is a reflection of his appreciation for the fundamentals of tone, craft, and quality. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the program the great Mr. Curtis Stigers. Curtis,
hey, Doc.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
You look marvelous. Do you always dress that way around the house?
Yeah, I sleep in this.
Great. Do you deal with the issues of ironing when you sleep in your suit? Because that's what I do too, and I get out of bed every morning and it's just a mess. And
I just take a steam shower in the morning, and it just
yeah.
Anyway.
Do you shampoo in the same shower?
I think we're getting a little too personal here. Hey, by the way, that Wave was fantastic. That was so grooving. What a great trio. And I'm a pro masker. I believe in wearing masks. This was the first time I felt sorry for someone wearing a mask when your bass player had to keep pulling his mask up and playing a solo. But I thought it actually influenced his phrasing really well, because he sort of do 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 break do 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 do. It was interesting. So
They should make
Go
that
ahead.
required issue for all incoming music students now.
Yeah. It's what you're not playing while you're adjusting your mask that's most important in a solo.
They should design a mask that falls off every 5 seconds, which requires you to breathe with the music. Just like a horn player has to take a breath and they can't just go on forever, the bass player has to. I think that's a terrific idea. Hey, who said
you're
good
welcome.
things couldn't
You can
come
use
out
it.
of the coronavirus?
I know, we're learning all kinds of things in the arts these days.
So Curtis, you're at your home in Boise, Idaho.
Yes.
You've played here at JazzTexas before. Most of the touring acts that come through are either in New York or in LA, and you're in Boise. Why Boise?
Well, I grew up here. I lived in New York City, well, in the New York metropolitan area for 16 years, from 87 to 03. At the beginning of the 2000s, actually my daughter was born in 2000, and then 9/11 happened in 2001, obviously, and it just didn't seem like the place to raise a kid. So we moved here to Idaho, where I grew up, and I raised my kid here. Now my kid goes to school in New York. She abandoned me, but it's a lovely place to live. I get to mountain bike and ski, and I just hop on a plane and usually go to Europe. I make most of my living in Europe anyway. I didn't really make a living in New York. You know, it was always my touring in Europe and overseas. So it works for me.
So when I think Boise and I think jazz, one of the names that comes to mind is Gene Harris, who, if you're watching and you're not familiar with Gene Harris, look him up. One of the baddest dudes of all time, kind of an Oscar Peterson, of the Oscar Peterson mold. And he ended up spending years in Boise. And did you get to study with him or play with him?
I found out about a jam session when I was in high school. I guess I was probably a junior in high school, and I heard about this jam session down at the Idenha Hotel, which was at the corner of 10th Street and Main Street in Boise. And I went down the first time without a horn and just checked it out. I was 16 years old, and there in the lobby bar of this hotel, and it was kind of, you couldn't really tell where the lobby started and the bar began or ended. They were the same thing, so you could just hang out in the lobby. Yeah. And so I saw these people playing, and this amazing pianist, and I thought, well, I could probably do that. So the next week I brought my clarinet, and I sat in and made god-awful noises, I'm sure. And Gene said, "Yeah, baby, you sound great. Come back next week. We'll do it again. Keep practicing, okay?" and so that was my home every Tuesday night for years. Going through high school, and then I after my failed attempt at jazz school, I came back, and he became a mentor to me and a few of my friends. And eventually, years later, after having hit singles and big albums and sort of making it, I got to sing on a couple of Gene Harris records. There's an album called Down Home Blues that he made with Jack McDuff, and then another one, kind of a gospel record called In His Hands. And I got to sing a couple of songs on each of those records. And, you know, by that point I'd played with Elton John and duetted with Al Green and, you know, hung out with Bonnie Raitt and, you know, opened for Prince. But, you know, playing on a record with my childhood idol, mentor, teacher, friend, tequila buddy, you know, it was pretty amazing. We lost Gene in 2000, and it was just a huge heartbreak for us because he took a town like Boise, Idaho, and I'm sure you know the feeling a little bit. He took a town like Boise, Idaho, and he turned it into a jazz town while he was here. That people really understand how to listen to jazz, where to clap, that sort of thing. You know.
Yeah.
And it's because of Gene. Anyway, he's a great mentor and friend of mine.
So you have a recording career spanning 28 years, going on 3 decades.
29 now. Here, let's
29.
be honest.
So we got to update the bio.
Yeah, no kidding.
How in 29 years, how has the jazz business changed?
Well, I started in the pop business, first of all. I mean, as far as the record business, I always just played music. You know, on Monday night I was in a blues band, you know, back in school. Tuesday night I went to Gene Harris's jam session, and the rest of the week I either played with a rhythm and blues band or a punk rock band. You know, I mean, I played music. And so when I started my career as a recording artist, I was writing pop songs. I was also playing jazz in clubs and things in New York, but I was writing pop songs, and that's how, you know, sort of where I started. I had my first single was a top 10 hit, and then my first album sold 1.5 million copies. I was on the Bodyguard soundtrack, which sold 40 million copies. I had this really cool, exciting start, and then I got into a sort of embroiled in this fight over creative control with the record company, and eventually realized I had to destroy my pop career to do what I wanted to do, whatever that was. I went back to jazz because that's what I grew up studying. That's what I grew up really loving. I still like to sit around and play my guitar, and I love Willie Nelson, and I love Charlie Parker, and I love the Sex Pistols. You know, I like music, but I have made jazz records for, you know, I made 12 records for Concord Jazz, and now my latest is out on MRC Records. Since the turn of the century, so I made pop records for a few years, but I've played jazz for 20 years. The jazz world is a lot of different worlds, you know. I mean, it's hard to describe. I'm still trying to prove that I'm not just, you know, like a Rod Stewart who just popped in for a minute and you know, did a standards record and left. You know, I mean, 13 records on, I'm still trying to prove that, you know, I belong in the.
Well, if I may say so, you played a show here at JazzTexas 4 nights before we closed down back in March.
Yeah.
And you have nothing to prove, my friend.
It was so much fun. I loved playing there. It was our second to last, our penultimate gig before the shutdown. The next night we played in Austin, and those 2 nights were such a riot. I mean, that's what I'm clinging to, are those 2 nights of beautiful music played for people who wanted to hear it, and I seem to remember some really good wine as well was had there.
There was definitely that. I can't speak for Austin, but I can speak for San Antonio, and that night there was some good wine to be had. So Curtis, I want to talk about the new record in a minute. You've got a new record coming out, but first you mentioned Willie Nelson and the guitar earlier. Perchance, do you happen to have a guitar lying around the house?
I just might, Doc. It's amazing that you should ask that, but look at that right there.
Would you play something for us?
Gibson J45. I will. This is the first song from my new album. The album's called Gentleman. This is called Lately I've Let Things Slide. It's a song by a friend of mine and hero of mine by the name of Nick Lowe. And I think it really fits the lockdown pandemic sort of thing. It sort of talks about how far I've fallen. Forgive my not fabulous jazzy guitar. With a growing sense of dread and a hammer in my head, fully clothed upon the bed, I wake up to the world that lately I've been living in. There's a cut upon my brow. Must have banged myself somehow that I can't remember now. The front door's open wide. Lately, I've let things slide. I go to the bin, I throw the laundry, pick out the cleanest shirt. Then I tell myself I don't really hurt. That untouched takeaway I brought home the other day has quite a lot to say. Along with my pride, lately I've let things slide. I go to the bin, I throw the laundry, dig out the cleanest shirt. When all at once I'm seized again by exquisite hurt. Smoking I once quit, now I've got one lit. I just fell back into it. The evidence is clear on every side, piled high and wide, about how lately I let things slide. I'm just about holding on, but lately I've let things slide.
That's Curtis Stigers, ladies and gentlemen, playing a track off his latest record. Curtis, you've got a new record coming out. What else can we expect?
Well, the album is out. I'm not touring. You might have noticed. I finished in Texas. Where can you go from Texas? Really?
What can we expect on the new record?
Oh, I see. The record has a few originals. It was co-produced, and many of the originals were co-produced with and by Larry Goldings. Larry and I produced the album. He played all the piano and organ.
I love Larry Goldings.
He's a genius. He's so much fun to work with. We've made quite a few records together over the years, and this seemed like a perfect project. Originally, we were just going to make a piano vocal record, but you know, it needed some bass, it needed some drums here, and it grew into something. I also worked quite a bit with a songwriter called David Poe. So there are more originals on this record than usual, and then there are the sort of what I think of as modern standards. There's a Tom T. Hall song, and there's a song that was written by Larry Goldings and a Nashville writer called Bill Domain called Shut-Ins, and that really fits the pandemic as well. So it's a record like most of my records that's all over the place because I like all different kinds of music. I grab songs from here and there and here and there. We also do After You've Gone, you know, the old standards. So there's a lot of a few different things.
Cool. Well, we can't wait to get it, and you can find that on Curtis's website, which is down there at the bottom, curtisstigers.com. You've got a lot of great stuff on the website, and also, if I'm not mistaken, you have a new Patreon account coming out in the next few days. Tell us about that.
I'm launching a Patreon page this week. I have been home for the last 5 months, almost 6 months now, and I wasn't playing. I needed an outlet, and so I started making these little movies just for fun. I learned how to use iMovie and edit, and now I've churned out some kind of cool things. So I'm using Patreon as a way to get that stuff out there, and it's mostly, you know, it's me playing my songs that I don't often play live with my jazz group. It's videos that I've made, I don't know, little documentaries that, and even a joke of the month club. I tell a pretty good joke every now and then, and a few bad ones.
I'll sign up for that.
Yeah, you can use them all. They're yours, Doc.
Can I? I will.
I stole them, yeah.
Hey, write me some Kawhi Leonard jokes. I'm running out. Curtis, thank you so much for joining us on the program. You sound fabulous. I can't wait till we can have you back here at the club in person. And in the meantime, we're going to check out your website, curtisstigers.com. We're going to look for your Patreon, which is coming any day now. And until then, keep it swinging and enjoy the beautiful weather up there in Boise. Beautiful town.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good. Well, you guys take care down there. Keep making money off of that takeout as best you can. I know how hard it is to be a restaurateur and a bar owner at this time. So thinking of you guys, and take care. Wear your masks.
All right. Thank you, Curtis. We'll see you next time, okay?
Thanks.
That's Curtis Stigers, everybody. All right, we're going to get to one of my favorite tunes now. This is a tune we haven't played in a long time called My One and Only Love. my one and only love. Thank you very much, everybody. This next tune we would like to dedicate to a very special person, to the memory of Robert Ostrom, who was one of our regulars here at Jazz Texas, used to sit right over there at table 104, and passed away recently at the age of 96. A very, very special cat, and this one goes out to Robert and his entire family. Thank you so much for all your support over the years at Jazz Texas and for tuning in to the show, and we'd like to dedicate this one to Robert. This is a little Fly Me to the Moon. Fly Me to the Moon, Brandon Guerra on the drums, Daniel Durham on the bass, our special guest all the way down from Austin, Texas. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year again. We know that it's hot outside. Pandemic just won't stop. There's nothing to do. We're all stuck in our houses, and many of us are turning to board games and other interesting activities like watching silly puppy, kitty, and unicorn videos on YouTube. We here at JazzTexas have invented our own unique board game which you can play along with right there from the comfort of your own boudoir. So without further ado, let's play the board game. Well, by now you know how the board game works. We pick two famous people, both of whom are boring. We compare and contrast them, and then by the end of the game, I get to decide who's the biggest bore. So tonight on the board game, who's more boring, Cleopatra or Mariah Carey? Well, on the one hand, Cleopatra was the ancient queen of the Nile who ruled during the Macedonian dynasty and is considered the first femme fatale. Contrary to popular belief, Cleopatra was not an Egyptian and traced her family origins to Greece, becoming the very first person in history to use 23andme.com. Cleopatra was renowned for her intellect and spoke as many as 12 languages, though when asked which one she spoke the best, she always said, "They're all Greek to me." Cleopatra began her first love affair with Mark Antony in 41 BC, which is thousands of years before Mark Antony was married to J-Lo. Cleopatra was also Julius Caesar's mistress, and they had a child together, who most likely was born cesarean section. In 1963, a movie was made about Cleopatra, starring Elizabeth Taylor, but the film bombed so badly and nearly bankrupted its studio after its budget soared to over $44 million, which is almost as much as Jeff Bezos spends on cologne. On the other hand, Mariah Carey is a singer, songwriter, and actress. Mariah cut class in high school so often that she got the nickname Mirage, unlike Cleopatra, who cut class so often that she got the nickname Caesar's Palace. Mariah Carey won the Guinness Book of World Records for hitting the highest note ever sung by a human being during a performance of the Star-Spangled Banner. The note was so high that it even shattered the trash can the Houston Astros were banging on to steal signs. According to her website, Mariah Carey's fans are known as her Lamely after she started calling her loved ones, friends, and fans lambs. But many of her fans started calling Mariah by the name Mayhole to remind them of how often she acts like a complete a-hole. In 2001, Carey decided to try her hand at acting in the huge film Glitter, which made the movie Cleopatra seem like an Oscar winner. Mariah Carey came out with her own line of perfume, Lucius Pink, which is considered not as classy as Gwyneth Paltrow's perfume, smells like my science. Well, it's a tough call, ladies and gentlemen, but if you had to choose who bores you the most, Cleopatra or Mariah Carey, the correct answer is Mariah Carey. And thanks for playing the board game. Back to the music. This next tune is by special request to our good friend Rick, and as part of the request, Rick asked, "What's up with the new Mason & Hamlin piano? Where'd you get it, and what's its story?" And you may have noticed we've been using this piano for the last couple weeks, but if you came to JazzTexas anytime before we closed, you would have seen this piano up here. This is a 1923 Mason & Hamlin grand piano, which I bought right out of college using student loan money, which I wasn't supposed to do that. So don't go after me, but I bought a piano instead, and I bought it sight unseen off of eBay, believe it or not. Don't ever do that, but I did it and it worked out okay. It's a whole nother story, which we'll get into on another episode. But I had it rebuilt by a terrific piano rebuilder in Strawberry, Arizona, named Nick Gravagna, who is most likely not watching tonight's program, and he did a wonderful job. So it's a 1923 piano, but all the insides and the guts are about 15 years old. But they've been played by me so long that in Doc Watkins' years, it's about 175 years old at this point. So it's a new, old piano. So Rick, thank you for the request. This one's for you, buddy. The Way You Look Tonight. I can't believe I called you buddy. I hate when people call me buddy. Like, hey, champ, tiger, boss. Annoying. the way you look tonight. Thank you very much, everybody. We've got time for just one more tune for you all this evening. Make sure and tune in to the live stream this Friday and Saturday night. We're live here at Jazz Texas at 8 p.m. Texas time every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Make sure and order your drinks and your food from the Jazz Texas Kitchen and Bar. We've got a great program for you on Friday night. Daniel Durham will be back on the bass and Brandon Guerra on the drums, and our special guest will be the wonderful Champion Fulton, a wonderful pianist and vocalist from New York City. We're going to talk to her. It's going to be a great show. Finally, many of you have asked, how can we support Jazz Texas during these times? And in addition to ordering from our kitchen and our bar, we also have live stream donations that are available in the little link description here for our live stream. We take Venmo and CashApp and PayPal and food stamps and interesting trades. We're looking especially for a used love seat or one of those large brown leather sofas that you found growing up in your grandmother's house. We'll take that too, anything. So anyway, thank you for supporting us. One last shout out to KRTU, Caitlin Hill, Chris Science. We're going to close out with one final tune by the great Dizzy Gillespie featuring Brandon Guerra on the drums. This is A Night in Tunisia. That's A Night in Tunisia by Dizzy Gillespie. Once again, Brandon Guerra on the drums, Daniel Durham on the bass. Thank you so much for tuning into the program. We'll see you next time. Thank you, and good night.